walikuja hapa wazungumza nao ya mashamba, walikuwa wanataka kujenga mtambo wa kutengeneza cement. Tukakubaliana nao na tukakubaliana kwamba kila mmoja alipwe 130,000 per acre. Walilipa watu fulani wakalipwa na wakapilwa nusu, na kutokea hapo wakasema wataleta ile nusu ingine, lakini tangu waondoke hatujawaona.
Tunaomba kwa serikali, jameni, tusaidieni. Hiyo Savannah ikiwa ni undanganyifu iende kabisa. Huyo ni ukora. Watupatie deed zetu ili tufanye vile tunaweza kufanya.
And apologies for that. The sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Now, moving on swiftly, youths from Boni Forest village in Lamu County have called on the government to create more job opportunities for the Aware community, highlighting their ongoing struggles with limited access to employment. Speaking during a celebratory event recognizing 21 youths who secured jobs, local leaders emphasized the need for economic inclusion, noting that insecurity deters outsiders from working in the area. Lamu County Governor Issa Timami, however, assured the Aware community that an affirmative action plan is in progress aimed at enhancing education and vocational training to equip youth with skills for the job market.
Jamii ya Aware wameachwa nyuma kwa miaka mingi, na tusipokuwa na mfumo wa affirmative action kuwasaidia, basi watazidi kubakia nyuma. Kwa hivyo hii ni katika ile majukumu ambayo tumefanya ili kujaribu kuinua jamii hii.
Serikali kitu-consider sisi kama wenyewe, kuna wasomi wengi huko kwetu wako, wakitu-consider kama waboni na wakituajiri, sisi wenyewe tunaweza tukaendeleza kwetu zaidi kuliko nje.
Now, as the world prepares for future health pandemics, a recent study by Aga Khan University has revealed the urgent need for measures to protect female health workers during health emergencies. The study, titled Women in Health and Their Economic Equity and Livelihood Status During Emergency Preparedness and Response, WELA, revealed that while health systems heavily relied on women for healthcare provision, they failed to address gender-specific burdens the workers faced.
What we found out from the study is that the healthcare workforce suffered in terms of their mental health, their well-being, as well as their livelihood, but also the issues of gender, where we saw more of the women who had extreme effects of COVID-19 and its mitigation measures, as opposed to those who are men, and more so those who are within the unpaid cadre, who within the healthcare system are the community health promoters. So for us today was really to share the findings and also to come up with recommendations through the use of participatory approaches.
Over 70% of all of the frontline healthcare providers are women. And while we rely heavily on them to deliver the services that we need, whether it's at the community or a facility, we're very unresponsive to their own needs. So we tend to think of women as, a homogenous group. We don't recognize that if you're a woman who's single or married or has children or doesn't have children, or who's in a paid position or an unpaid position, that your lived experience, both within your workforce and in your community, can be very different. And that really came out in the findings from our study, that women, whether they were paid or unpaid, were more affected economically from a mental health perspective.
Now, to our developing story this afternoon is in Siaya County, where the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, is currently ready to engage members of the Fourth Estate. Of course, our very own Simon Ochola is with the EACC spokesperson, that is Eric Ngumbi. Let's listen into their discussions.
Today, in response to the questions that you have raised, the Commission wishes to say the following. In relation to corruption in our universities, it is true that corruption and unethical conduct have found their way into our universities, and this is compromising and threatening the quality and the standards of higher education in the country. At the moment, EACC is conducting investigations into various forms of corruption, theft of public funds, academic fraud, and unethical conduct in 18 public universities. Among them is the University of Nairobi, where the Commission is conducting investigations into irregular appointment of a senior official who is said to be without the required qualifications. The Commission has written to the Council asking it to take action to remedy that situation, because that position of Chief Operations Officer is also said to be irregular. The Council is here to do that, but EACC has given it a final opportunity to do so within 30 days. In Moi University, the EACC is conducting investigations into alleged theft and malpractices involving 2.2 billion Kenya shillings. So far, 59 witnesses have written statements, including the Vice Chancellor, who wrote his statement last week. And later in the week, that is on Wednesday and Thursday, 4 council members of Moi University who will be recording their statements at the EACC offices in Uasin Gishu. But now come to Siaya, where we are today. This is, let me call it a new scandal in Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. In a similar version to what happened in Moi University, university officials allegedly colluded with consultants and contractors to defraud Jaramogi University of money amounting to 2.6 billion Kenya shillings, and that is in the implementation of 6 capital projects in the university. Notably, these payments have already been done despite the projects still being incomplete. In the same university, that is Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, EACC, through its Nyanza regional office in Kisumu, has launched fresh investigations, and this is in relation to a graduation that took place last month in October, where it is alleged that 6 university officials received bribes to facilitate the graduation of over 200 unqualified students who, instead of sitting for supplementary examinations, colluded with those officials to bribe their way into the graduation list. EACC has already moved in, and even as these investigations continue, the Commission expects the university management to take appropriate administrative action to remedy that menace, because if those allegations are confirmed through investigations to be true, then that would be a serious problem. So if you look at what is happening in our universities, and from the pattern that is emerging from the reports already received from 18 universities, it is clear that most of these problems are caused by serious leadership and governance problems. For universities such as Moi and Nairobi, the very top, the vice chancellors, council members, are accused of being part of that problem. And that is why you saw the University of Nairobi the other time, instead of heeding the advice from EACC to take administrative action to correct a mess where a person without the required qualification has been given a senior position, instead of taking action, they wrote back to EACC trying to justify why the officer should continue in office. We rejected that suggestion from the chair of the council of the university, and we have given them 30 more days effective from 5th of November to take action. In respect to
Well, that is the EACC spokesperson, that is Eric Gumbi, addressing members of the 4th Estate in Siaya County. And of course, he just told us that 18 universities in the country are under probe, and leading the charge is the University of Nairobi on irregular appointment of a senior officer within the institution to the, of course, besieged Moi University on alleged theft of 2.2 billion shillings. He clearly states that 59 witnesses have been lined up in that particular case. And in Siaya County itself, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga of Science and Technology University, of course, they are also probing a 2.6 billion shillings theft payment done without projects being completed within the institution. And of course, another incident where clearly stated that over 200 unqualified students had signed up for graduation, paid their way to graduate and get those degrees. Of course, they're investigating that as well. He clearly cites that that is in leadership and governance problems that are being witnessed in top universities within the country. Our very own Simon Achola will brief us in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, the residents of Kariobangi South in Nairobi County are decrying the rising cases of insecurity in the area that have already led to the loss of 17 lives. They say a gang of criminals armed with guns and knives has been attacking their pedestrians and blamed police for not taking action on the criminals.
Juzi kuna kijana amenyang'anywa mpaka ufunguo wa gari, anafanya KCC hapa. Ilikuwa vizuri tu alikuwa ameacha gari KCC. Sasa kama wamama tunalia sana kwa sababu hatujui kazi tutaenda aje, hatujui tutapita aje area.
Ikiwa watu wanatoka mbali wanakuja hapa na wakikuja kupiga sisi tutajikaje? Ikiwa wanatoka Dodola wanakuja kuiba hapa, watoke Kayole wakuja watuibie hapa, wakuja waduge watu wetu hapa, na sisi tukivamiwa sisi wote na watu hawa, si tutakuwa tena sisi tumeisha.
Elders from Nyangi Diriri Cultural Group in Embu West, Embu County, who are among communities claiming ownership of the disputed 44,000 Mwe settlement scheme, have expressed the desire to have the matter sorted out through mediation. The cultural group chairperson, Andrew Ireri, said the land tussle has had endless litigation from communities claiming ownership, adding that they have sought the court's intervention to consolidate the cases to build consensus and have the decades-long tussle sorted out once and for all.
Ile kesi ziko somewhere, ile ambayo najua ni kama 4. Na kile kimefanya hayo makesi kae sana ni maombi ile ambayo tunaita application notice of motion, wengine wanaweka notice of motion, hiyo ikimalizika ingine pia inaletwa. Kabla tufike hapo, jaji mwenyewe alikuwa ametuambia tunaweza kaa chini tutatue hayo maneno tukiwa nje ya mahakama, ili hiyo siku ikifika turundishe makubaliano yetu. Na tukikaa chini hiyo mambo tutaiongea na tutaitatua.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has launched the University of Nairobi Engineering and Science Complex, dubbed the University of Nairobi Silicon Savannah Innovation Park at State House, Nairobi. The head of state said the government is keen to roll out such projects to accelerate the creation of jobs for the educated yet unemployed millions of youths in the country.
We are here to celebrate a remarkable achievement and at the same time ignite a transformative project that will initiate pathways to greater productivity, increase capacities for creativity, and multiply opportunities to innovate, drive, and foster economic growth and consolidate Kenya's profile as a leader in the digital age. We stand at a crossroads of historic opportunity and challenge in Africa. On the one hand, we possess unprecedented potential to drive industrialization, innovation, and inclusive prosperity on a global scale. On the other hand, we face complex and dynamic risks, threats, and crises. With a median age of 19 and over 60% of the population under 25, Africa is home to millions of well-educated and highly skilled young men and women ready to make their contribution to the advancement of our economies and industries.
Music and creative artists in the Gusii region have decried the lack of support and delayed royalties. They say this has left many struggling to sustain their careers and livelihood. They revealed that the failure of copyright organizations to remit royalties for the past 5 years has plunged many artists into distress.
For the last 5 years, we haven't been, we haven't gotten our royalties. And this does not really go well with the artists, because when you invest in something, you expect to get something back.
Music is a career to most artists. So we are calling upon our CMOs, our governments, our national and county governments, to at least find a way to better this art.
Meanwhile, the International Justice Mission has officially launched a center to serve children and women who have experienced gender-based violence at the Msambweni police station in Kwale County. The center aims to enhance the confidence and capacity of officers dealing with such cases and create a supportive environment for survivors of gender-based violence. Men have also been warned against engaging in relationships with underage girls or vulnerable women.
Kesi yangu ya mwisho ilikuwa ni kwa hii afisi hapa, lakini kwa sasa hivi ni kwamba logistics kwa hali fulani zimekuwa covered na hii structure.
La muhimu ni kushirikiana. Ikikuja police station, that is responding. There's already a victim. How can we reduce these victims? How can we prevent them from happening?
Waache kukimbilia hili rahisi kwa sababu wale wanadadiwa ni wale hawana njia ya kujitetea. Mbona usitafute ule mmekutana huko anajitembeza huko ujitetee?
A section of residents from Mwingi have rubbished the ongoing tussle between members of the County Assembly MCAs and the County Executive over whether to lease or construct the ward representatives' offices. The residents told the MCA to prioritize health and transport projects instead of their own offices. The conflict arose when the Ministry of Finance deducted the money meant to build offices for MCAs in Kitui Town and their respective wards in the supplementary budget tabled in the Assembly.
Our leaders, and we respect them, are demanding for 250 million. Monies which can be used to build a number of dispensaries, can also be used even to, during rainy season, we have a lot of problems with the roads around. We need that money to repair the roads.
Maofisi zote za MCAs asifai kuenda county government, zinafaa kuenda mahali walichaguliwa. Kwa sababu kuna mama kwa pale mzee na anataka kukuona. Kwa hivyo hakuna maana ofisi zipelekwe county.
Nilikuwa naomba nikuuliza ma MCAs wote. Tunajua kazi zenu, tunajua kwamba mnataka maofisi wajenge huko. Sasa mama mzee atatoka hapa aje aende Kitui kufanya kazi kuona MCA. Haiwezekani, si ndio?
The Parliamentary Committee on Regional Development has called on the government to release funds meant for critical projects that have stalled in various parts of the country. Speaking in Kajiado County during an inspection tour of several projects, the committee members said underfunded stalled projects have led to cost variations resulting in poor workmanship by the contractors. They noted that the acute water shortage has devastatingly impacted rural areas' dwellers, with millions of taxpayers' money lying idle on incomplete projects.
Paranai Dam. This is a facility that has been funded by the national government at the cost of 25 million and with a capacity of 50 million litres or 50,000 cubic meters. And this facility is going to serve at least 1,000 residents and over 20,000 livestock.
We shall not, na sisi as a committee, we shall not allow regional development authorities to be taken to the county government, because county government, they get a lot of money, but they do very little.
Mimi naomba wabunge wenzangu wahakikishe kwamba wamesukuma pesa wasaidie huyu contractor ambaye ametufanyia hii kazi hajalipwa. This is tangible development. This is real development, and this is life-changing project.
In this sixth segment of My Culture, we celebrate Kenya's rich heritage and the timeless tradition that define our communities. This afternoon, we take you to the heart of the Agikuyu community to explore the art of poetry, a craft as ancient as Mount Kenya. Once a cornerstone of the daily life and a symbol of identity, this age-old craft is finding new life in the hands of generation determined to cherish traditions. Here is Jackie Wambiru with the details.
Pottery, once the heartbeat of creativity and utility among the Agikuyu people, holds stories molded by hands and fired by tradition. This is a journey from the past to the present of an art form that shaped daily life. In the past, the art of pottery was a vital craft for Agikuyu women. Using clay harvested from banks of rivers, they created pots for cooking, storing grain, and even ceremonial purposes.
Nilikuwa natengeneza nyungu hapo vile ilikuwa kuonyesha vile ilikuwa inaendelea kutengenezwa, na kwa ile nyungu ya kupikia githeri kwa utamaduni, ile nyungu inapikia haraka kuliko nyungu ya mabati ama sufuria, kwa maana hiyo nyungu inatengenezwa kwa udogo. Sasa ile udogo ikishashika hiyo moto inapika haraka.
Each piece was a blend of practicality and culture. Serving as an heirloom passed from one generation to the next.
Tengeneza kama kipande ya chini na pande ya juu nimegawanya mara pili. Hiyo nyungu nikishatengeneza ninaiweka, ama ilikuwa inawekwa kufikia kesho yake ndio iwe na uwezo ya kushikilia ile nyungu itaekelewa juu yake, uganisha pamoja ndio ikuwe nyungu sasa. Na kwa hiyo nyungu ya utamaduni ya Wakikuyu ilikuwa tu inatumika kwa upande ya kupikia hiyo mambo ya kupika githeri, na ni nyungu ilikuwa nyungu ya usaidizi sana juu hata chakula yake hiyo githeri ikipikwa iko na utamu yake kushinda sasa ile tunapikia kwa sufuria.
But as modernity crept in, the demand for clay pots waned. Plastic and metallic containers replaced these handcraft treasures. The once thriving art began to fade, threatening to leave the rich Agikuyu pottery tradition in the dust of history. At the Geminado Hyoshia Agikuyu Cultural Festival and Exhibition, a generation is taking up the mantle determined to preserve the craft. Cultural preservation groups and artisans are reviving pottery by blending tradition with innovation.
Sikuanza na yale manyungu, lakini nilikuwa nimeajiriwa kwa kampani ya kutengeneza hizi vikombe za kauro, na nikafuatilia. Sasa wakati nilienda kwa hiyo kampani nilijiuliza kwa nini kama hii udogo inatumika na ndio ilikuwa inatumika pale mwanzo, Kwa nini hata mimi nisianze kutengeneza ile manyungu? Sasa nikaanzia hapo.
These efforts are also creating economic opportunities.
Niko na kijana yangu nimefunza, na pale mwanzo na vijana kama 3 ni sawa wafunza, na sasa wako na makazi zao zile wanaendelea nazo. Sio nyungu peke yake yenye ninatengeneza hiyo ya kupikia. Ninatengeneza hata nyungu za maua. Ninatengeneza majiko yenye naye inapika. Majiko kama hii tunaita kunibiri, jiko kisasa, majiko yenye inatumika kwa shule, hata hiyo yote tunatengeneza. Kwa hiyo
Local markets and cultural festivals now feature pottery as a centerpiece, with tourists and locals alike eager to own a piece of Agikuyu heritage.
Sasa yale manyungu wenye walikuwa nafinya sasa wafinyanzi wako wadogo, ni wachache, sio kama vile beleni. Kwa hivyo hata kupata hiyo nyungu inakuwa ni shida kuipata. Kwa hivyo iko na biashara mzuri.
For the Agikuyu, pottery is more than art. It's a connection to identity, history, and community. By preserving this craft, they ensure the past continues to mold the future.
Vizuri turudie ile mambo yetu ya utamaduni ya zamani, ndio tuonyeshe watoto wetu wale wanazaliwa ama wale wanakuja. Kutumia hiyo nyungu ya hiyo utamaduni yetu ya Ukikuyu kuna haja sana.
Jackie Wambiru, My Culture.
Thank you, Wambiru, for that report. And on that note, we need to take our first commercial break on KBC's Lunchtime News, but continue talking to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. Don't go too far.
Are you thinking about your future? Saving through a registered retirement benefits plan offers amazing benefits that make a difference when it matters most. A registered retirement benefits plan allows you to save up to 20,000 shillings every month tax-free. An investment income from a pension scheme is tax-exempt, meaning your money grows even faster, especially when you add the compound interest. Your retirement benefits provide a basic, reasonable income after your working life, preventing old age poverty and offering contingency funds in cases of ill health, death, or other disruptions. It acts as a safety net upon loss of employment, like during the COVID-19 pandemic, and offers financial protection to your dependents. Plus, it can cover post-retirement medical costs, one of the biggest expenses for retirees. Secure your future and enjoy your retirement to the fullest with a registered pension plan. Plan today for a brighter tomorrow. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800-720-300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Are you looking for a brand-growing outdoor advertising with beautiful simplicity and an artistically inspired choice? Look no further. Our 40 years of credible reputation and experience will give you exceptional brand traction.
Inspector, kuja hapa karibu kwa gate ya Vitimbi Hotel. Kuna kazi kwa hapa.
Wamefika wako kila mahali kufanya hivi kuchika chifiche.
Kwani nini imetokea?
Unyalingika, twende tukajifiche. Ni sweki na wama balua.
Moja kwa moja.
We are located at Corner Plaza, 4th floor on Parklands Road. Take Talk. Get your brand on the talk with City Clock.
Friday night again.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed. We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, Education PS Dr. Belio Kipsang has commissioned grade 9 classrooms at Masikonde Primary School. He has confirmed the government's commitment to building 18,000 classes in all schools, where 11,000 will be funded by the Ministry of Education and the other 7,000 will be built through NGCDF funds.
Now spreading assessment of our children to both formative assessment, which is more of the school-based assessment that will be done by our teachers, marked by our teachers in their own environment. And then there will be the summative assessment, which is what you have just asked, and I'll be mentioning in a short while. As we go to grade 9,
and in other news, a new poll released by pollster Polytrack Africa has highlighted the urgent need for the county governments to prioritize development of projects in their own devolved units. The survey conducted between the 10th and the 17th of November 2024 polled 3,211 respondents across the country and assessed the performance of 20 governors. Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza was ranked the top performer by the poll with an approval rating of 76.5%. He was closely followed by Tharaka Nithius Muthomi Njoki at 75.1%, and Narok's Patrick Olentutu came in third with 73.2%. The poll also noted a strong correlation between development and re-election, urging governors to focus on public needs rather than self-initiated projects.
The next 2 years could see substantial shifts in these rankings. And what of the electoral implications? Well, if these trends continue, approximately half of the governors, those above the median of 50%, might be in a favorable position for re-election, while the other half may face significant challenges in seeking re-election. Low-performing governors should conduct in-depth assessment of public concerns and develop targeted improvement plans. County governments should prioritize transparency and public communication to build trust with their constituents.
And now welcome to the world of business. Technology service providers are calling on the government to create an enabling environment for them to run their business of service provision and the management of the Kenya Internet Exchange. Among the issues raised are digital tax and way leaves, which they say addressing will be critical in achieving the service providers' goals.
The engagement that brought together technology service providers and the Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy saw a number of challenges raised by these service providers which need attention.
Digital tax will be a challenge if enacted. When excess duty is increased from 15 to 20%, there's a decrease in usage. I've mentioned way leaves, our partners in the county governments, and I've had the PSs and Waziri are aware and working closely with county governments, but if that could only be expedited.
TESPOC also raised concerns on the establishment of the Protection of Critical Infrastructure Bill, which the government on its end challenged them to come up with a better definition of its meaning for both parties to benefit.
Infrastructure providers, OTT, the submarine cable operators, we really are challenged with vandalism. We have also to help government to come out with a better definition of what is composed of critical infrastructure, and you must think 30 years, 50 years from now, so that some of the things you think are not critical infrastructure can easily become critical infrastructure in a few years to come.
Role in advancing the government's agenda in the digital space, the government officials called on TESPOC to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the provision of digital services as the government seeks to digitize majority of its platforms.
We have 1.3 million and there are potential of 9.6 million homes and businesses to be connected. On government connections, we have 74,000 public institutions that we need to connect. We have 25,000 public Wi-Fis. We have the overall rising of the digital economy.
Come and tell government that if you do this tax, you do this measure, you undertake this measure, it even affects your agenda more than it supports it.
Ethical business, I think we need to ensure that is our guiding principle, to ensure that we are sustainability. We are concerned about our country. Yeah, we don't want just to make profits.
The service providers, on their part, ask for an enabling business environment that allows seamless operations. The government is further committing to streamline policies and invest in infrastructure that facilitates advocacy partnerships, evaluations, research and capacity building for the service providers in subsequent meetings to discuss challenges and solutions. Isufa reporting for Lunchtime News.
The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and the industry has signed a formal cooperation agreement with the Development Agency for Innovation of Mayot, ADIM. That is, the Blue Economy Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho, who presided over the signing, noted that the proximity of Mayot Island to the Kenya's coast present a strategic advantage for expansion of trade, particularly in fisheries and maritime industries, an opportunity that remains largely untapped.
Mayot is a small island located in the Indian Ocean and part of French Overseas Department. Given its small economy and reliance on France, Mayot's imports primarily come from France. While Kenya has established trade relationships with France, the new agreement now opens a direct channel for Kenya to send its goods to Mayot, leveraging its proximity.
People now are going to have meaningful commercial conversations beside the normal government-to-government diplomatic ties. There's now a specific focus that opens doors for our business people to be able to do business with the people of Mayot and largely France in general.
The opportunities that we are talking about is approximately 1 billion euros. That's approximately 140 billion Kenya shillings in terms of what Mayot imports per year. And looking at that, the fast moving consumer goods is approximately 80% of that.
Kenya's agricultural products, including tea, coffee and horticultural products, will now be marketed to Mayot as part of Kenya's plans to expand its export portfolio.
This presents a big opportunity for diversifying and even increasing our Kenya's exports. If this opportunity is well utilized, actually France, through Mayotte, will be the first destination, the leading destination for our Kenyan exports.
It's long overdue, I must say, particularly in the area now that we're looking into enhancing our production, our food production, and also the partnership in blue economy. You realize that this is an area that has enormous potential, and I think it's untapped.
The logistics and transport sector is also set to benefit from the new partnership. Trevor, for Lunchtime News.
Potato farmers in Meru County are being trained on good storage measures to reduce post-harvest losses. The initiative by Korea Partnership Innovation in Agriculture Kopia, in partnership with the Meru County government, will employ the use of technology to enhance agricultural output and boost profitability.
Meru County boasts of being the major producer of potatoes with over 196,000 tons produced annually. For the last 4 years, the county has seen an increase in potato production from 8,000 kilograms per hectare to over 16,700 kilograms per hectare. However, storage and packaging of the produce still remains a problem, leading to post-harvest losses.
As the farmers continue getting higher yields, one of the challenges that they are getting in their farms is how to handle and store the potatoes after harvest. Because if they sell immediately after harvesting, the highest chance is they will be selling at a lower price.
To address this, Korea Partnership Innovation in Agriculture Kopia, in partnership with Meru County government, has introduced a program to sensitize farmers on good post-harvest practices, which will not only increase farmers' incomes, but also address food security in the country.
Security is a critical component in this country, and we must focus on how do we assist the farmers to do right production, do the right farming, to have the right planting materials. That was the main issue that we have today.
The initiative will implement advanced technologies such as improved storages for storing potatoes soon after harvest as a way of upgrading crop farming systems to boost performance and profitability, as well as provide training through agricultural researches and conduct pilot projects to showcase practical effectiveness.
We focus on post-harvest management of marketing to let our farmers have an idea how to sell their potatoes at good price and how to manage the quality of potatoes.
Winslaus Pamba for Lunchtime News.
Now, some developers are increasingly exploring innovative 3D printing technology in the construction as the country races to address its housing deficit. The technology involves the use of computerized way of producing houses, building materials using an industrial-scale printer. This afternoon on Tech One, we take you through the unique technology of house building.
The government plans to build 250,000 houses each year, aimed at eventually closing a housing deficit that the World Bank puts at 2 million units. This plan was launched in 2022. To hit this target, developers say a new way of construction needs to take root.
We know that if we want to clear that backlog, we need to build differently. We need to build at scale, with speed and with low carbon materials. And this is what construction 3D printing makes possible, so that we clear that backlog soon.
14 Trees CEO Francois Perrot says the technology can help address the housing need. The first step of printing a 3D house is creating a blueprint using computer-aided design or CAD software. The second step includes installing the 3D printer on site with additional equipment. The printer then uses the converted drawing and prints the walls in layers, following the predetermined design of the house. Depending on the design and architecture, the printer's position or nozzle might be changed during the process. The nozzle defines the finish of the walls, which can be smooth or layered. After the house walls are printed, the concrete is moisturized for another 24 hours through water spraying on the walls, or the construction is covered in plastic to keep the moisture from evaporating. 14 Trees used the technology to build a showcase house in Nairobi and 10 houses in the coastal Kilifi County. Perrot says that acquiring a printer locally and making mortar locally could also help bring down the cost of housing.
People don't really worry or care about the technology. What they care about is the design, the price, the way it is set up, the layout of the building. And the positive feedback we had was on the aesthetic and the pricing and the location of the project we delivered.
For many, such new technology has great potential but remains limited.
In spite of the great potential of 3D printing technology, it will still take a long time for it to be able to compete with the brick and mortar. Brick and mortar, everybody can build their house anywhere they are. They're able to access the materials, they're able to access the tradesmen who are able to build their house, and they can plan the cost, they can plan how much money they have, they can build in phases.
This notwithstanding, 3D printing technology may very well be one of the novel answers to the country's housing deficit. Alan Aoko, Tech One.
And that is all we had for you in the world of business. Let's go back to our general news, where stakeholders championing alcohol abuse control want the government to devise stricter measures to suppress alcohol consumption in the country due to the socio-economic ramification of the commodity. Led by the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, the stakeholders are also calling upon parents to closely monitor their children's conduct during the long festive season to prevent them from falling victims to the harmful practice. NACADA, in collaboration with partners, among them the International Institute for Legislative Affairs, have in the meantime launched a campaign dubbed Reset Alcohol in the efforts to deter the abuse of alcohol and related drugs.
Parents, take your responsibility as a parent to know your child, to have a good relationship with your child, talk about things like drugs, relationships and all that. And then also the community. The community should also take responsibility of knowing and actually getting the young people, putting them together, especially the churches. You know, the churches, churches and let's say faith-based organizations, they congregate at least once a week. So this message can also be carried out in worship areas where the clergy can, in the temples where they can talk about alcohol and drugs. This is something that NACADA is doing. Right now we are training faith-based organizations.
And we are doing this under a program, a global program called Reset Alcohol Initiative. And Reset Alcohol is a global initiative that is supporting a few countries globally, including Kenya, to adopt and implement either of two measures. One, tax measures as an intervention to reduce consumption of alcohol and to reduce the associated harms of alcohol, even to the larger community and the economy. And the other intervention that we are championing under Reset Alcohol Initiative is the adoption of legislative or administrative measures to reduce availability.
And now let's play. Urunani basketball team from Burundi is the first team to arrive in the country for the road to BAL Elite 16 East Division tournament scheduled from Thursday this week in Nairobi. Urunani is drawn in Group B together with the City Oilers of Uganda, Matero Magic of Zambia and Fox Basketball. TP Mazembe of the Democratic Republic of Congo is now the top women's club in Africa following the historic CAF Women's Championship League triumph over AS FAR of Morocco, who they dethroned by a solitary goal in the finals in El Jadida. Now the win is a big motivation for their national team, the Leopards Dames, as they prepare for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco next year.